Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our virtual auditorium. We'd like to welcome you on this lovely Friday morning. We have our, of course, World Creativity and Innovation Week happening, and we'd like to sort of kick off the event with a fantastic webinar session for you guys this morning. I have several panelists with me today, and Dr. Manti will be doing the introductions. But for now, guys, just a couple of housekeeping rules. On the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see we have a chat box. Please say hello, tell us where you're from, give us some insight, engage with us. We want to know more as we sort of speak through the things this morning. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see we have a poll live, which just asks if you want to know more details about Milpark Business School. And of course, we have our Ask a Question facility. That is where we will look when we have our Q&A at the end, which is always very exciting. So, of course, my name is Michaela Thomas. Sorry, I should have started with that. I'm from the marketing department, and I'm here to ensure that everything goes smoothly. I really am looking forward to the discussions we have with our beautiful, fantastic panelists today. So without further ado, without delaying any more, I'm going to hand over to our wonderful Dr. Manti Grobler. Thank you. Oh, she's muted. There we go.
Go
ahead.
Open.
Cool.
Thank
Here
you.
we go.
Thank you for being there in the control room. Yeah. So who could have asked for a better introduction and a better start for the conversation than working with Michaela? Thank you very much. Yes, so welcome. Today is all about innovation and creativity. I wish I could start every day with a topic like this. I'm really excited to hear more about it. So if I can invite you to please introduce yourselves to our audience, our participants, and if we can start with House of Hope. Please introduce you to the audience. Are you on?
Good
Yes.
morning.
Good morning.
Okay, sorry. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kaisi Lemotsa. I'm the founder and the director of Berea Hill Home of Hope for Girls.
Yes, and yeah.
Well, my role on this project, are we talking about that already?
No,
why am I here?
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been part of, been the director of House of Hope for? And then what I'm really interested as well is if you can just share something that's important, that's close to your heart, that you want us to be mindful of. Like, what is something like a value that you think is important?
Okay. What is important to me and for me is for the children, the girls. As we know that in our country we are having the pandemic of gender-based violence. So it's safety for children and to ensure that they get a chance of becoming better human beings tomorrow.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We honor you for that. I think we all want to take a moment and just say thank you for this important work that you're doing. And yeah, and I'm really curious and interested to learn more about your work and House of Hope today. And then let's go to Anele. Anele, if you can please introduce yourself as well, and also share some value or something that's close to your heart.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anele. I'm a PR and communication professional with a passion for lending a helping hand to those in need. And what's important to me is basically making an impact to those around me and just leaving someone feeling better than they did about themselves and their place in the world. And yeah, that's me.
Oh, thank you, Anele. That's beautiful. You're really making me feel a better person just being in your presence. So Thank you. Njabula. Please.
Yes, morning everybody.
Morning.
So my name is Njabulo, so name is Nkize. So in terms of my passion, I think as a mama's boy, I'm just passionate about helping and uplifting ladies, women, if I can put it that way. And I think that's the reason why we also chose Home of Hope for Girls, because with gender-based violence, it's something that, we are really struggling as a country. So it's something I'm very much passionate about. And yeah, I think that's just me on my side. I'm also, in terms of profession, I'm a data scientist, just recently became one. So yeah, that's just me in a nutshell.
Sure, that's wonderful, and I think you are an example of what we want our brothers to be, and the important role that men have in our lives. I think if we think about gender and gender roles, it should be a partnership, right? And a
Definitely.
respected partnership.
Yeah.
And thank you for stepping up and being an example for us of
Thank you,
what our
Doctor.
brother can be. Thank you very much. Yeah. So and may we call you Mama today, Mom Kenya?
Yes, no stress. You can call me Mama.
Mama, because I think you represent that. I think you represent Mama
Yeah.
for all the girls, and I want to honor that as well, and the important role that you play. So for today, for this morning, you're our Mama. So if you can maybe tell us about
Thank
the
you.
story of House of
The home.
yeah, tell us a bit about the background.
And
Yeah.
yes. Thank you, Dr. Mati. Homophobe started in the year 2000. I was not into a charity, but what I saw made me to be very inquisitive. I saw children on the street. What invited me were the ages of the children. So when I discovered that those children were orphaned children, number one. Number two, they were trafficked from different, some of them from our neighboring countries and from our 9 provinces. So that's when I said to myself, what are we here for if we cannot protect these orphaned children? They are our children. The fact that they don't have parents, as long as we are still here. Then so I started removing them, staying with them in my own apartment. Normally, when you're starting something, you must have a business plan and all these things. But with what I heard from the children, it forced me to say, money or no money, but here I am as an adult, I will manage to protect them, ensure that they are safe wherever they are, because they are now staying with me. So that's how Home of Hope started. I didn't even take into consideration the issues, the health issues that they might have been having, and a lot of issues that I ignored. For me, what was important was just the safety of the children, because now I discovered that pimps and drug lords were not people you can negotiate with or people that you can talk sense to. So I had to be there to ensure that, of course, they're not my match, they are whatsoever they are. Through God's grace, I managed. Homophobe today is turning 51 in May. So, and the education issues, the reunification. I thought maybe when we get a next of kin, it was going to be easy. And when we get a family of a child, it was going to be easy to say, here is your daughter, we found her here, can you take her back? That was like a no-no, because some next of kin would be telling me that, where did you find her? Was she in a brothel? If so, we do not want her in this house because we bring bad habits to our children. So now you ask yourself a question. But who is this child if now you are protecting some of them over this one? So Home of Hope started and continued.
Sure.
Through God's grace, here we are.
Mm.
And
Sure.
now the pandemic is here. We are still alive.
Yeah, thank goodness. Yes. And it's amazing that you said that you didn't, it's almost like you didn't waste time to have the perfect plan. You just said,
Mhm.
what can I do? And how can
Yes.
I make a difference? Ah,
Mhm.
that's so inspirational. Sure.
Thank you.
So let's circle to Anele, and maybe make it a joint conversation, Jabula, between you and Anele.
Okay.
How did you come across? How did you choose to work with House of Hope, and maybe give us a little bit background about the module as well. Like, what is the connection?
Jabula, do you want to take that?
Yeah, I can take that. So basically, Doctor, what we had to do as a group, initially when the module started, we were put into groups that we didn't choose. So it was they just put us in the group, and we had to make sure that we gel within the group and get to know each other very quickly because time was not on our side. So basically, the course itself was just to actually help us think critically and strategically. Be able to have problem-solving skills and be ethical leaders. Have those qualities. But basically, for the project itself, we had to actually come up with, choose an organization that has got CSR initiatives within the organization. And then from there, because we chose APSA, we had to actually go embark on an interview with the CSR individuals that work with CSR in terms of APSA, that department itself. And then they gave us a list of certain organizations that they work with in terms of NGOs. And that is when we saw Home of Hope for Girls, which was something that actually spoke to us, because we also looked at the SDGs, which are the social responsibility goals, in terms of how can we actually get to sustain and make sure that whatever organization we choose, it's not just going to be able to, we go there and then we help them and then we no longer there anymore. So it was just for us to make sure that with the SDGs as well, we are able to come up with, because there's difference of them. We looked at the fact that how poverty is like, and since we are under the pandemic, what can we do as individuals that are embarking on this project? So just to mainly give perspective of the project itself, basically what we had to do was, from actually identifying the Home of Hope, we had to make sure that with the stuff that we're learning at school, how can we actually enable us to actually plan and design an effective CSR project for that specific organization, which was APSA. So we had to make sure that we explore the life cycle of what it actually entails of when we speak of the CSR, which is a corporate social responsibility. So with us actually understanding those phases, then we actually embarked on firstly having those interviews with APSA and making sure understand, their perspective and what they do as an organization, how they actually have an influence and an impact on other industries, meaning these NGOs, because we know organizations are there. Some of them just do them for fun, if I can put it that way, but we needed to make sure that we get to understand that with what they do, they really have an impact on these organizations. So it was that interviews, and from us actually understanding those phases, then we started embarking on getting to understand what Home of Hope is all about. What were their needs? What did they actually were suffering from? What did they actually need as a home to actually sustain themselves? Because when we spoke with Mam Kanye, she was actually surprised when we came. She also thought probably just another company or in students that are just coming there to just want to find out about them, and then we were just going to leave after that. So we really had a good relationship with her when we came. And I know it was the pandemic, but we tried by all means to actually go there to the home to see what is happening and the initiatives that they were actually doing. And it was quite, interesting, Doctor, when we got there, whereby they also had a garden and how the kids were and so forth. So it really touched us. And from there, we had to make sure, even though we were under the pandemic, what can we do to actually give a helping hand? Because some of the stuff and initiatives that Anele knows about, we had to come up with out of our pockets. We had to make sure that what can we give, from interacting with the home and looking at what we learned at school.
Yeah.
Because we had to make sure that whatever we're learning, how can we actually implement within, the project. I don't know if Anele would like to add on that.
Yeah, just I wanted to say that, like, when we got together, we as a group, we agreed on 3 commitments that would carry us through the project and beyond. So our first commitment was actually leading this project from the spirit of Ubuntu, always remembering that at the core of this project are real lives and real issues. And the second commitment was agreeing to grow this NGO so that it can accommodate a lot more young women who are going through different issues. And lastly, which I think was the most important for all of us, was committing to Home of Hope itself, working with the organization beyond the project, as it is our social responsibility to uplift the communities that we live in and the ones that we come from, which is, I think, is the summation of what this project, the course is about.
That is so lovely. Yeah. So, Mama Kanya, how did it feel for you to be approached by these students and getting to know them? What was your impressions?
With us, we are very skeptical. Whosoever comes to our source. I received the call on the 10th of March, the first call. And now there was these students, and the person who spoke to me, it was Paul. And I questioned her so much because with us, we don't trust anybody until we have the relationship.
Yes.
So with students, I even told her that we don't even take social work students because, number one, they don't respect our information. I said a lot of things. And so then, as they were talking, and then I met the group. When she gave me the names, I asked if they are allowing us to vet them. They said yes. With that, we relaxed a bit, but not really. Like they told me about because I told them about the COVID, that this is the time when we are not sure of what is happening, and our beneficiaries are so scared. They've seen so much in their young lives. So now here comes the pandemic. Here I am now, I'm talking about these students. You see, it was just something like, I have to make sure that I deal with it properly.
Yes.
In fact, with the students, I thought it was just something very normal. But it became so unique because there was this consistency. Whenever I was talking to someone in the group, it was not like, oh, we've forgotten, by the way, we said that. When they introduced the Microsoft Teams, I just said, now they want to teach me this thing. Will I manage to? And now, when I fail to use it, they'll be telling me that I'm failed for this. It was a lot of things, but they were so gentle to take me through. I remember it was Tunani. We're talking, we spoke for a long time on the phone, and I just said, this boy is just trying to tell me that this thing will work when it won't work. But it did work. And our relationship continued. Whenever they were saying they'll do something, they were sure that they will let me know if it's not happening, and they will let me know when it was happening. And so they visited me because I wanted them to come so that I could see them properly,
Yeah,
to talk to them face to face.
sure.
They came, and when they visited us, they brought things for us, and it was like we have known them for a long time. The questions they were asking and the questions that I was asking them, they were not judging me. That was another thing that I appreciated from them.
Sure, that is very
And
profound. Yeah.
then there are so many important things that came out of this relationship. So I got so comfortable that I can contact them anytime, whenever I needed
Yeah,
to talk to
yeah.
them. Now you know, when you are older, sometimes you think these youngsters will judge you. That's another thing. I could ask them any question and they will come back to me with an answer.
No, that is good. I mean, they've proven themselves. It sounds like it. It sounds like um, they they showed up and they've built and established the trust that you know that you can count on them. And I think that is
Mm.
really important. And you also touched on the impact that the pandemic with lockdown had on the project. And I'm very curious from and Nibula, from you and Aneli's side, you know, how did you organize yourselves? How did the lockdown bring in opportunities as well? So tell me about that.
So the project actually kicked off right at the beginning of the heavy lockdown, right, Njavula?
Yeah,
And
it's like a curveball. Sure.
yeah, so the last we had seen of each other was in other modules, and now we had to get together, get the trust going, and get our commitments basically, and basically weigh out our strengths and weaknesses for this project. What is it that Njabula can do, and what are my strong points as well, so we can allocate the different tasks to different group members. And that was a challenge, because I think at the beginning, it's the fact that we are all going through a pandemic. So we are firstly trying to get our heads around, okay, we are in a pandemic. And then on top of that, there's work, and then there's school, which tends to sometimes take, you know, the last in terms of priority. So, but eventually we found our rhythm through online. I mean, MS Teams, Zoom, whichever one that, and even WhatsApp. So we were online a lot at odd hours, which was very interesting, especially for partners as well, you know. And some of our group members have children, and having to be a parent, be an employee, come back home, be a parent, and then be a student in the odd hours of the night, which is very interesting. But I think we managed.
Yeah. Just to add the doctor, I think with the group, you know, I always say maybe the universe works in this mysterious ways, because we were put in groups, we didn't choose, but the way that our group, you know, gelled so well, you know, we even wanted to say that in the other modules, can it be the same group? Because of how we were interacting. And like Anela was saying, we used Teams, we used different platforms, but we eventually found that no, Teams will work for us. But the fact that we just planned to make sure that, you know, within our work, we are able to meet and respect each other as individuals, because we didn't know each other and we didn't even know Mamkani, but the fact that we respected each other, we could actually respect her as well. So it was just quite interesting. That is what I learned from this project as well, that you meet different people and the way you guys interact, you know, is, and I think the fact that we as a group, we wanted to actually achieve this. We wanted to make sure that this is just not a project. We need to sustain and make sure that we actually help Home of Hope, because we also felt that, it's the pandemic, which also I know it was a pandemic, but it was a blessing in disguise because we were able to interact online, because like Anila was saying, people have got their lives that they still need to do. Because for me, I worked late at work, and now I had to travel from work, go to school. From school, I needed to drive all the way to Pretoria. So it was just, a nightmare. But the online actually helped because now I could actually now change, and time was a factor. So it was, we really worked well as a team.
No, that is fantastic. And I think for me, it is when there's a common cause, right? So it's not just about, I think what came out for me here, it wasn't just about school or the module as a academic tick box. It was that you connected with this deeper wish to make a difference.
And we still have the WhatsApp group till today, and we no longer group, but we still interact and find out how everybody's doing. Yeah, because we still as well. Paul is still, like Mam Kanye was saying, who actually was speaking to Mam Kanye in the first stages. She's still also doing her own initiatives on the side where she's helping young girls with sanitary towels and so forth. So we still interact and just find out how everybody's doing and what are they doing out there. So it's still quite interesting.
I love that we have some of your, I assume Tulani is also part of your group.
Yeah.
So welcome Tulani, and please continue with the comments to be part of the conversation. So that's really lovely to see the participation as well. So talking about that, if you have any questions that you would like to pose to the panel, please put it in the chat and I'll weave it in. So it was really interesting to see how you embrace the online environment and how you pull that, make it work for you. But Mama Kanya, how did it feel for you to now be expected to connect with teams and just give us some of your impressions on how that change felt for you, and do you still use it now after the project? Has it added some benefits for you?
Yes, in fact, working with the group, what I noticed was the unity amongst them. It was like they've worked together for a long time. In fact, I even suspected that they were just saying they are just students met doing what they're doing now. Because with the teams that they introduced us to, it helped us even to connect with other people again. We're still using it today. And I think all what they introduced to us, it's something that we're still holding on to. Because as you know, that it was during the pandemic time. Some of the people who were supporting us fell off. Here are these people who are coming. When the house is burning, they are coming in and saying, we are here. So they managed to cover a lot of space. I remember when we were talking now about us, we've been around for 20 years, but there were things that we're not aware of that we needed to have to support us, like the SARS tax pin. I made so much noise when they were telling me about that. I said, no, we've got the PDO number, we've got this. And if they can be honest, they can check. They were trying to explain to me that, no, this is what is needed. No, you see now this again. But then Julian said, okay, can I start the process of registering for you? Then that's when I was comfortable to talk to our accountant, talk to our auditor. And then they said, yes, you need that. I said, why have you not been telling me about it? So we managed to get that, and we said to all other supporters, they said, oh yeah, now we are talking. If it wasn't that I met these students, I wouldn't be knowing this thing. So for me, it is something that or the strategic planning, the 5-year planning, I could even go into my vision and talk about it, because sometimes when you talk about something that you are seeing and you don't have money, you
Yeah.
always look around and say, maybe people will say, I'm forcing them to pay money. But with this, they made me understand that it's important
Yeah.
to put everything down and to make sure that you follow your vision. You can change it, you can do whatever, but it has
Yes.
to be down
Yeah. Yeah.
somewhere where people can see it. Mm.
No, that's really interesting. Yeah. And so maybe I can ask the students if you want to give us kind of a description of what is the difference that you've made. What was the innovation or the gift that you gave for House of Hope? What is it?
I think on the one end, our gift to Home of Hope was building or extending the family, and for them having a group of people that they can trust with their needs, no matter how big or how small they are. They know that we are a phone call away. And I think beyond that, there was so much more. No, Jabulo, would you like to touch on that?
I think Anela, you put it very, I wouldn't actually say much more, but I think that's one of the gifts. And I think with the fact that we went there to actually help the home, because like Mam Kanya was saying, we also looked at the fact that how the vision and mission was looking, and we tried to actually update that for them. We looked at how we can use our own skills to actually make sure that we come up with certain initiatives for the home. For example, I know that we have not done it as yet, but it's something that we're still going to do, just to go to the home and give our own experiences in terms of our own careers, and which might make the girls also look into those type of careers. Where we also looked at the fact that, what are the short-term goals for Home of Hope? What are the medium goals? What are the long-term goals? So those are the stuff that as well goes to planning, and that we can also assist, because I think our relationship is not going to stop here. Even though our group won that money that was going to actually help Home of Hope, we still want to continue. We looked at some of the stuff that currently right now, what they've got, what are the additional long-term stuff that we can actually assist them with as well.
Yeah.
So I think that is the gift that I can say as well, is something that is worth, with giving. And, like I said, gender-based violence is something that is still happening. Those are our future leaders. I'm not going to go into politics right now and say what is happening with our current leaders, but, maybe those leaders can come from Home of Hope. And what Mam Kanye is doing is recommendable. Like, she's my mom, and
Wow. Yeah, I was so touched when I was looking at the information that you shared and the stories about girls having successful lives. The beautiful stories. Was there anyone that you met, or for everyone, anybody that you would like to share their story or share something that you found very inspiring?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm glad you got some stories.
So at the beginning of our engagement with Mam Kanye, she would speak about, the work that she's been doing and the things that she has done. But there was one particular story with this young boy who she found. The boy was abandoned, and she found in the dumpster. And she would go on and about this little boy who's growing now. And then towards the end of the project, when now lockdown restrictions had been relaxed a bit so we could meet, we went and we saw this little boy, and just the personality in that little boy, the brilliance of his mind. And in that moment, I looked at that little boy and thought to myself, this is the impact that Mam Kanye has. This is like a reminder of the work that she she has given her life to. And that for me was just so heartwarming, and it was very encouraging, because it's not like there's visible results to what she does, you know.
Yeah.
And now this young boy has a whole future ahead of him, you know, which was something that the parent did not anticipate or did not see for this little boy. So yeah,
that is really beautiful. And that's a story of a boy
yeah,
in the House of Hope for girls.
yeah.
Love knows no boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think just to add on my side, Doctor, Mom Kanye herself was just an inspiration for me, because, you know, drug lords are, you know how ruthless they can be. And for a mom to actually be a person who is able to take a person away from that situation, and you know how drug lords are, they might come after her, but the fact that with the determination to say, I want to help these girls, was just amazing for me, you know. And she works a lot with some of our SAPS, but I just recommend her for that. And I think she also told us a story of a girl that she also helped, who was part of the drug cartel, if I can put it that way, where she took her in and she graduated. You know, there's amazing stories, the fact that she was able to, you know, bring somebody is able to be in our society now and is able to work and so forth. So it's recommendable what she does.
Yeah. It's that, you know, if we just give somebody a chance, right? Life can feel sometimes so hard, and if we can just give more people a chance to have better options in their lives, that's amazing. Yeah. And Mom Kanya, can you share some of your stories with us? What is maybe a moment that you felt makes everything worthwhile?
On my side, I'm battling because there's so many things that came up to my mind, and back at the relationship, how it started and where it is now. It showed me that in life, what we are doing at Home of Hope, we don't judge a person, and we don't judge what is going to happen in the person's life. What also gave us hope, there was a time when I was not even aware where one was going to get sanitizers. And they came up with so many sanitizers for us, even masks. It was like just on time, they come up with something that I really needed. And I couldn't say it enough to them that you guys are like, you are throwing bombs on the floor and seeing what I really need. Let alone when the funding came. So with this, it has taught me, a person can think you have been around for 20 years in this game. You keep on learning every day, and it humbles me so much that whatsoever comes my way, I have to be vigilant, but there are people out there who means business when they say they want to do something.
Oh, that's wonderful. So it sounded to me, Anele and Jabula, that you were strategic thinkers to come up with, improvements or suggestions around vision and mission for the House of Hope. But you were also practical in making a difference. That you rolled up your sleeves and you got involved. That is really inspirational. So why would you say that your project won? What was the difference between your project?
I think Dr. Manti, you've summarized it. I think with us, the reason why we won is the fact that we didn't just take our learnings, we put them into practicality, because it was the pandemic. We had to find new ways of doing things. the fact that now we are, even Mankind didn't have teams. We had to find ways to make sure that we have these meetings, we can conduct them. And I think planning was a big factor. The fact that we, every single week, we made sure that we meet, and whatever time we had stipulated we meeting, all the members were there. That was not to say that Anel is not there, Tulan is not there, because we had to make sure that as a team, whenever we distribute work, it's all boils down to respect, because we made sure that the following week, with whatever we said we were going to do, did we do it? How can we help them all? Because like Mam Kanye was saying, we spoke about sanitizers. We were under the pandemic. We didn't have to do all those things, but we thought of what can we do now? You know, and it was something that we just thought of, and we went and delivered the stuff to Mam Kanye. Well, not at the time when the restrictions were too high, but when, you know, they eased. But I think the fact that we were a team that was, I don't even know how to put it, but we were together. It was the togetherness of the team that actually made us win the project, because even with the preparations, we made sure that we prepared to the T. There were times when we got stressed because now we had to deliver, and turn it in was the worst, you know, turn it in. I remember there was a time when we had to, you know, upload our assignment, and it had so much stuff that we had to go through. So we had to make sure that, guys, you see what Janet in the spot, what do we do? The fact that we pulled through as a team to say that, okay, even though it's 11 o'clock, because, you know, you need to actually upload before 12, whatever it was, we stayed up. We made sure we were on the call, and so that togetherness as a team is what helped us. It was not an individual thing to say that, you know, Anele needs to do whatever. If I was struggling, Anele would, okay, come, how can I assist you? How can we do it as a team? And I think that was what segregated us from the other teams, that we were just together as a team, and we made sure that we get to understand what we're doing. If you don't ask, you know, we can actually assist where we can. And I think that's what made us win.
Yeah. And I think Mama
I think
Kanya,
also,
sorry, Anele, carry on.
Sorry, I think also for our team, the fact that we held each other accountable to actually make an impact at the end of this project, I think is what landed us a win for this project, is that we were so driven by making a positive impact, and not just looking at this project as a school project and let that be that. The fact that we were, I mean, the drive to have a real impact, because we are dealing with real issues and real humans, you know. So I think that's what landed us a win.
Yeah. I think it makes the world of difference when people actually care. It's sometimes, I think, especially experiences in the country, is we can get what's that word, if you feel disconnected, or you get so desensitized about struggle and about hardship in the country, because we see it constantly. So to connect with empathy and to say, this is where I'm going to make a difference, is an amazing experience. And I think that's what you're portraying for me today. That about this project and these people, you cared, and you adopted them as part of your community.
It's actually hard not to care, because I mean, at the beginning it starts off as, oh, we need to pause and get ahead, and then you start engaging the home, and it just takes a 360-degree turn, because you're realizing that there is so much work to do, and there's so many lives that need a helping hand, you know. So it was. I mean, I think anyone who goes on this, who does this project, can never be left unchanged. You know, and you open yourself up to the realities firsthand of what the next person may be going through, and what South Africa looks like, what women are going through. So you cannot be left unchanged after such an experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did it impact your thinking around your role and then often kind of where I'm leading to is often we feel overwhelmed when we look at these challenges. How did you experience it?
I think, Doctor, in terms of my personal capacity, I think for me, it actually broadened my level of thinking. You know, I know that we live in a government where we don't trust that much because of how it is. And the fact that I'm not gonna wait for something to change. What am I doing as a person to make sure that I bring a change within our society? So I think that is what drove me or the team as well to say that currently we're under the pandemic, it's COVID, and maybe our government is going to do something, but why should we wait? What can we do? You know, and I think that's what set us apart as well, because we didn't have to go and dig in our pockets and come up with money and do whatever, but we said to ourselves, guys, we understand it's a project, we planning 1, 2, 3, why don't we do something now? And for me, what I learned with this is I know we always say the level of Ubuntu, and that is what I took out of this, because I grew up, my mom, like, as I said, I'm a mama's boy, and my mother always instilled in me to say that you don't have to help a person to get something in return. Do it out of your goodness of your own heart and make sure that you help the next person. And with the team that I got, Dr. Mand, I'm not going to lie to you, I learned a lot, because it's different personalities, you know, and we didn't, if a person comes up with an idea, it's not about, no, I know best, I know a better idea. We listen to the next person and we make sure that, okay, fine, this is something that we can do. Let's do it as a team and move forward. It's not about that I know more, I'm more educated, and so forth. And this, for me, was, I appreciate that there is such modules within this course, and the fact that we could interact differently as people. So like Anila was saying, you know, going to the home, it really does, you come there as a project, but you leave out and say, you know, it's not just a project.
I love
You learn more.
So let's complete that sentence. We come there as a project, we're left as?
We left as new individuals. Because I grew from that, you know, I grew from that as a person to say that even with now, Dr. Manti, it's not about, I know there's homes out there and people just think it's just homes, but the amount of work that is needed, they do need help, you know, and if our own government could see that, I think it would be a better country, because right now billions were given, but we don't see those billions. So the amount of stuff that we get, it's not about also the money value of it. I think just going there to interact with these kids and giving them advice could go a long way. So that is what I learned, you know, from this.
And you, Anele, if you have to complete that sentence, you arrived as a project and you left as?
I left as a better human being. Yes. A better mentor, a better friend, and a better colleague. Because throughout that whole time, the whole project, I was, so growing up, I was part of the Rotary Interact Club, and it sort of dealt with these kind of issues of always being there to lend a helping hand. And the whole time I was reminded of their motto, which was service above self, and how the team just was so committed to that without even, I mean, this, I never said this to them, but looking at it, that's what everyone was doing, just putting the home before themselves and the lives that they lead. So yeah,
that's beautiful. I'm just looking here at Tulani's beautiful comment. We also left as a unity because we built strong relationships. So we felt responsible to making a difference in a. And I like the word unity. I know you've added it to unit, but I like the play of unity, because often when we think about, you know, we've been kind of thrown together without choice, as you said, Jubilani, about this project of being just put together in this project, and then you had this experience and you dealt and you become more than just a syndicate, more than just a project. You become a unit. You had
Yeah.
that unity. Yeah.
And I think from Doctor,
So,
what you're saying, that's one of the comments we got when we presented our presentation to the panel. And the fact that when we did our dry run, the doctor there also said, I think you guys were prepared. Unlike the other teams that came to present, you guys were the guys that were prepared. We didn't have to change much in terms of our project, but I think that unity is what helped us, because we went through, the presentation ourselves, where we timed ourselves, so we made sure that we are prepared, and so it's the unity that you're talking about.
That's a big lesson. Lesson learned. Yeah. And thinking then about, this whole week is about creativity and innovation. How do you see innovation and creativity? And then what would you highlight in the project that you would say this is a creative approach, or this is an innovation that we came up with? What would that be?
So for me, creativity and innovation are two sides of the same coin. I mean, in the world that we are living in, the world just keeps changing, and it keeps changing at a rapid pace. So in the way that we learn, in the way that we educate, we need to remember that there's these things that are happening around us, and the flow of information makes it, even more so that in education we need to adapt. So I think with this project, the fact that initially, like the first thing that we had to definitely be an innovation on our side, or creativity on our side, because we couldn't meet in person with Mamkani, we couldn't meet in person with each other. So we had to resort to other means of communicating and being in touch. We also had to build relationships, because we had to speak to, for instance, Mamkani, without her, build a relationship with her online. And sometimes that can be hard, because it's easy to see someone's intention on, like when you're sitting in the room right across them, because you can feel their energy, you can see their eyes. But we had to do all of that online. Even with APSA, they had to go with our words that we are actually a legit group and we come from Milpark, and there were so many things that were needed. But I think we powered through.
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Doctor. I was just gonna actually add on what Anil is saying, because when you look at the word creativity, it's something that you need to be creative, and the innovation portion of it for me spoke to the fact that Mamkani didn't know what Teams is. So we had to make sure that we become creative in terms of trying to show her what it's all about, because for us, it depended on how we were going to actually communicate. I understand people came up with WhatsApp and we've got Teams, things online. We had to just make sure that we get to shift from the norm. We were going to offices and it was us seeing each other face to face, but the fact that as a person you need to be also just adaptive, and we had to adapt and make sure that we are able to actually sustain and move forward. Because if we we're not people of, looking at how innovation can actually help us, because there was somebody who was innovative to come up with Teams, and we just needed to adapt and use whatever innovation that was there to make sure that we move forward with the project. So even though we didn't come up with an innovative idea, but I think for the group, what was innovative for us was the fact that we were able to bring something new to the home, something they didn't not know about. And the fact that we had different people with different careers within the group, because we had Simpiwe who was able to, he's the person with numbers. And the fact that he was able to pick up that they don't have SARS stuff, and we kept on going back, no, Mom Kanye, you don't have. No, I do have. And there was that back and forth. But, we were just using what we learned at school to innovate, to make sure that we come up with certain strategies of how to help them.
Yeah. And I think I just wanted to touch on that often innovation is not a thing, but it's a way. That's how we do things or approach. And if we look at Tulani's comments here, where it says, through our creativity, we were able to reposition the outlook of Home of Hope in terms of how they relate to the public. We revised the way Home of Hope sells, what they do to the public, to a point that the Home of Hope got some airtime, on Radio 72, because of the way of how we position the story of Home of Hope. That's amazing. So it's a whole approach, and then added to that your strategy that you've created, and so it's really it's if I could summarize this, it's for me, it's that you engaged with caring. You really aim to understand, build that empathy, and then you looked at what you can contribute, the difference that you can make, and that impacted how they now continue going forward. And it sounded to me that you guys were empowered. Like you're the ones walking away with a sense of, look at, we can make a difference. You are being empowered through this. And for me, that's a powerful shift, because often we feel overwhelmed. We feel, what can I do? But through this experience, the innovation that happened inside of you, for me, is this sense of empowerment now that you feel about you changing the world.
That's true, Doctor, because just to mention, in the beginning of this project, I was like, oh gosh, they're putting us in a group. How am I going to survive this? I was like, okay. Well, I already met Tulane. It's like, okay, at least I know Tulane from class. But, it was just the shift from the first time we started to how the momentum came by day. It was just amazing. And I'm glad that there is such a module within the course. And I got to meet a great team. And I wish that with whatever other courses I might do, they might be there, so we can all be in the same group again.
At least you've built friendships as well.
Yeah.
Time just flew so quickly. I see we're at the end of the conversation now, and I'm so sorry. It seems that we've lost Mama from the call. But I would just invite the audience, if there's any questions that you would like to, let's just see if there's a question. There's just a question here that says, first of all, thank you for your contribution. And then can you name some of the challenges you faced and how you overcome these together? So just briefly, if there's anything that was top of mind as far as a challenge goes?
I think on top of my mind, Doctor, that I can think of was time. Time was a challenge for us.
Time.
And why do I say time? We had to use time very effectively. I remember the first times when we started meeting, the meetings would just go on, but we were not getting through in terms of what we needed to do. So we had to reprioritize how we use our time to make sure that before we come into those meetings, we are prepared. So it's not about the fact that, it's not about the fact that we're going to meet and then we're going to ask you, what did you do? And then you're going to be like, no, I don't have time. You needed to respect the team, and because it was COVID. So the meetings that we had to schedule with, for example, with APSA, we needed to go do homework. It was not about the fact that you're gonna come and say that you didn't do anything. We had to use our time effectively. So when we went, I think we only had one meeting with the guys from APSA, doctor. And the fact that we only had one meeting was the fact that we went there, we planned ahead, a week ahead, we jotted down the questions that we had to do. So we made sure that, at the end that we get what we need. So I think that was the first challenge we had, was just time. We didn't gel well at the beginning of our sessions, but then it got better with time as well.
Yeah, definitely has to be time. And I think, again, it was because we were all adjusting to this new normal. So trying to juggle your life around and then still having to accommodate 4 other people about a project, was a bit of a challenge. But I think once we laid out our commitments to this group, things flowed very well, and we all respected each other's time. We all respected the project as well.
Just to add a joke, doctor. This is just a joke. By the way, it's not like that, everybody who's watching, but you know what they say about NBA, that it breaks up a lot of relationships. So I went into it as well thinking, I'm just gonna, but guys, with time, it does require a lot of time. So I think that was the other challenge, that now your relationship needs to understand that you don't have much time. Work needs to understand you don't have much time, but you need to, time management is what I learned from this, if I can put it that way.
Yeah. There's a definitely a relook at priorities that's happening when you go on this journey of studying. So let's just check in.
I think one other challenge I think that we faced in Jabulo was actually the interaction, our initial interaction with Mam Khanyi, where she was extremely skeptical about our intentions. And it made sense when she explained to us, because she told us that people often front as people that want to help her. And then it turns out that they're actually sent by these drug lords and pimps to come
get information,
pick up the young girls and get information on the girls. Say Mam Khanyi's saved one of the drug lords workers, so that drug lord will come and send someone to check if that girl is indeed there and who's taking care of her, so that they can come back at a later stage to basically kidnap the young girl.
No, that's really, it's a different world, right? That you saw, and that you can now know that you've played a role in making a difference. And I mean, we're so grateful for Mam Khanyi. I'm so sorry she lost the connection on the call, but please convey our gratitude and our admiration for her. And as a closing comment, is there any further comments from the participants? Is there anything that you would like to comment or ask our panel before we close? I don't see anything else coming in, and no other further questions. Vote of thanks, definitely. That's coming in. So as a closure, some comments from you. If there's Tulani, that was also the reality of working in lockdown, and how you I think that's a big lesson that will stand you in good stead as we continue in this new reality. So as a for closure, if you would complete the sentence starting with I liked, so something that you liked about the project, something you wish for, I wish, and something that you will. What do you take forward from this experience? So 3 sentences. I liked, I wish, I will.
So I absolutely loved and the story. I wish I could do way more than what we've done so far. And I will do my best to continue to help her out and make a bigger impact to her and to the young girls that she houses.
Beautiful. Thank
Okay.
you. Yes.
For me, I liked the interaction we had with the Home of Hope and what Mom Kanye does. The experience was amazing. And I just wish I was Bill Gates. You know, if I had money, I would do so much more than what our current government is doing, because it's not only Home of Hope. I think there's a lot of other NGOs there that need assistance and so forth. So yeah, but what I can or I will do is still, do what I can do out of my own capacity to help Home of Hope, and we're still actually needing to meet again with the group because there were some plans that we did have to say we still need to go and do for the home. For example, like I said, I'm in IT, so it's just to also build some sort of, IT stuff that they can get to know. So there's a lot of initiatives that we still want to do for the home. So yeah, I think that's what I will be doing with the team.
That's wonderful. And now what you've also done today is you've made, over 60 people today, you've made aware of this project and of Home of Hope for the girls. And I would invite everybody on the call today to consider, what can you do to make a difference? Because if these students can do it, surely we all can. So thank you so much for being an inspiration. Kobus, I see you on the call, and Jane. Anything further from your side? Oh, and we are connected with Mom Kanya. Any closing remarks from you, Mom Kanya? Just seeing that.
I don't know. She can see and hear us, but we can't quite connect to her. So I invite her to just communicate in the chat and let us know her final remarks.
Thank you, Michaela. And then we can just see if there's anything coming in, and then we can thank everybody on the call that put aside this time to connect with us. Short and sweet, Jane, thank you. So ask. There's that quote. There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. True words. So just a word of thanks from Mom Kanya about you, about what you've meant to her, because it's not just about any project, it's about what you brought as individuals to the engagement and building that trust relationships, making a difference. Okay, well, thank you so much. And let's go beyond just being on the panel. Thank you for being the incredible human beings and mama boy. So we really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Michaela. I think then we can wrap up.
Yes, thank you so much to obviously our lovely panel. I'll just pop back in. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. Thank you so much to Dr. Manti for facilitating the conversation. We did try to get reconnected to Home of Hope, but technology, as we said, is one of the most difficult things during this time, and we appreciate their persistence, and thank you so much to you guys for your patience with us. Just to say thank you so much again for sharing your stories, Anele, Jabulo, and Mama, and of course you, Manti. We really appreciate you, and do hope that this makes a difference, not just for Home of Hope for Girls, but also for everybody who's listening today. So thank you so much, guys. The session is recorded, so it is here if you guys want to come back and just reflect and remind ourselves of what we can do. And I invite you guys to make any last comments, as Manti said. Let us know. And share, please. It's on our social media platforms. We want to make sure that the message is spread far and wide. So we're going to close off today. But again, thank you so much to our panel. Thank you so much to Dr. Munty. And we really hope you have a beautiful day and a fantastic weekend together.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. I always wave at the end of session, so I'm gonna wave. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.